There is a specific kind of tired that you know all too well. You work hard, you set the goals, and every single day you put in the grueling hours while the rest of the world remains fast asleep. And yet the breakthrough you were promised never seems to arrive. It feels as though you are driving with the emergency brake pulled tight. I am here to tell you a truth. This is not a lack of effort. You do not have a motivation problem. You have a programming problem. Deep within the architecture of your subconscious mind, there is an outdated script. It runs on a continuous loop and quietly sabotages every conscious step you take toward building your legacy. Until you rewrite that script, every empire you decide to build will eventually collapse into ruin. Important note before we go deeper. This is timeless wisdom. Read the description below this video to aid you in achieving the optimum results. Do not let this profound knowledge fade into the endless and chaotic noise of tomorrow. You must treat this tradition as sacred. Listen to the very end of this protocol. You feel the weight of existence pressing down on your chest. You smile for your family. You push through the daily grind. But deep inside your weary mind, there is a violent storm that absolutely refuses to settle down. You are exhausted by the drift. You are tired of playing the victim to circumstances that seem entirely out of your control. The drifter looks at this hardship and cries out to the universe. He asks why life is so unfair to him. But you are not a drifter. You are watching this because you belong to the elite 1%. You are the creator. You must understand that the universe does not punish you, but it merely reflects the internal chaos you allow to persist within your mind. What is controlling your mind today? Is it fear? Is it doubt or resentment? The drifter allows his mind to be a careless dumping ground for the endless fears of a sick society. But the master of fate guards his mind with ruthless discipline. Your conscious mind is the gatekeeper. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor. It builds exactly what you instruct it to build. If you dwell on your exhaustion, the contractor builds more exhaustion. It builds a miserable reality of scarcity for you to wake up in every single morning. You are literally programming your own failure while you rest. This is the hidden mechanism running in your brain right now. We must break it. Let us begin the calibration. Principle 1 is the law of the invisible season. When life gets exceptionally hard, you must recognize the shift. The masses panic when the soil of their comfortable life is turned over and they call it a disaster. But the architect of destiny knows that the soil must be broken before the seed can grow. The universe works by law and not by a clock. The delays you experience are not denials, they are preparation. You demand a massive empire, but your current mental foundation simply cannot support the immense weight of that vast wealth. So the universe breaks your current reality. It forces you to rebuild a stronger architecture. Do not curse the storm. The storm is clearing the weak structures from your life, the toxic relationships, the dead-end jobs, the habits that keep you small. They are all being violently stripped away so that you have the empty space required to build anew. This is not a tragedy. This is a profound synchronicity. You are being forced to step into your power as a sovereign commander. Embrace the invisible season. It is the time when roots grow deep into the dark earth. Nobody sees the roots. They only offer their empty praise to the massive tree when it finally stands tall against the wind. You must act independently of immediate results. You are a builder in the dark. Your silent discipline today is the exact blueprint for your visible victory tomorrow. Principle 2 is the absolute command of focus. The mind is a magnifying glass. Whatever you focus on will multiply and expand into your physical reality. This is not some weak philosophy, but it is a rigid and unforgiving law, just like the law of gravity. If you focus on the pain, you will summon more agony. If you focus on the solution, you magnetize the resources. There is no neutral thought. Every thought is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. It is either moving you toward freedom or reinforcing your bondage. The man who truly realizes this fact begins to treat his daily thoughts as powerful tools and never as harmless toys. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. It is too expensive. Stop reacting to the shadows. When a problem arises, the drifter stares at the problem until he is paralyzed. The creator observes the problem for 1 single second, and then he violently redirects his absolute focus to the desired outcome. He acts as if the solution is already secured. This takes immense discipline. You must govern your attention. When the world screams in panic, you must maintain a cold calmness. Your calm mind is the ultimate weapon against chaotic circumstances. You do not get what you want in this life, but you only ever get exactly what you consistently are. And until you elevate the energetic signature of your dominant thoughts, nothing will change. Do not just listen to this. Write it down right now. I am the master of my focus. Say it until your body believes it. You now deeply understand the mechanism, and while the drifter will ignore this warning, the true master will use it tonight. You have located the invisible enemy. Now we will learn how to destroy it completely. You are stepping into a new dimension of responsibility. The drifter complains about the storm, but the master of fate learns how to command the wind. The weak person you were last year cannot possibly survive the brutal altitude of the mountain where you are going. Stand firm in the invisible season. Let us explore the next phase of your mental architecture. You think you are losing your mind because everything is falling apart. But here is the truth that no one will ever tell you. You are not losing your mind at all today. You are actually losing your OLD, outdated programming. And when your external physical world collapses completely, it is actually the ultimate sign of a massive internal frequency shift. Let me clearly explain this very strange paradox. The universe cannot pour new wealth into a vessel that is full of fear. Therefore, the destruction of your current comfort zone is a mandatory process. The drifter sees the storm, and he truly believes the entire world is ending. But the architect of destiny watches the storm carefully, and he sees brand new construction materials arriving for his massive empire. This brings us directly to principle number 3. We must establish the rigid law of cosmic housekeeping. As you elevate your mental frequency, your life will reject things on a lower vibration. Old friends will suddenly pack up and leave. Opportunities you thought were perfectly secure will mysteriously vanish overnight. Do not panic when the universal garbage takes itself out, because this profound emptiness is exactly what you need to attract a higher level of abundance. The Creator understands that every closed door is a profound protection. You must be ruthless in your daily cosmic housekeeping. Cut out the toxic relationships without a single ounce of hesitation. Stop watching the endless negative news cycle immediately. The media is specifically designed to keep your mind trapped in a constant state of survival anxiety so that you never realize your true spiritual power. You must fiercely defend your new mental architecture. A single negative conversation can plant a very dangerous seed of doubt. That tiny seed will eventually destroy a massive empire. The drifter constantly complains about the ignorant people holding his progress back. But the master of fate simply stops walking with them, because his daily energy is a sacred resource that must be protected against all external vampires. Say this aloud right now in your room. I am the ultimate gatekeeper of my reality. Let the vibration of those exact words rewire your tired brain. The conscious mind must filter out the poison before it ever reaches the subconscious. If you allow fear to freely enter the gates, your subconscious will tirelessly build a miserable prison around your life. You must observe the stark contrast between these two men. When financial ruin threatens the drifter, he immediately becomes desperate. He begs the distant universe for a quick, lucky break. But the universe only responds to law, and it never responds to desperate begging. The invisible world around you will only match the exact energetic frequency of your dominant mental state, regardless of your physical actions. Now consider the actions of the sovereign commander. When he loses everything, he does not shed a single tear. He sits down in absolute silence to gather his thoughts. He looks at the recent failure as nothing more than raw data. He knows deep in his soul that his disciplined mind is the only true asset that can never be stolen from him by any worldly force. This clearly introduces principle number 4 for your journey. You must master the ultimate shield of cold calmness. Emotional turbulence is the absolute destroyer of all wealth. When you react to adversity with anger, you hand your power to the enemy. But when you respond with cold calmness, you immediately become an unstoppable force, and the chaotic world has no choice but to submit to your direction. Let us look at the precise mechanism of your brain. When you panic, the amygdala immediately takes total control. It completely shuts down your logical and creative thinking. You revert to a primitive animal trying to survive the wild. The drifter lives his entire life trapped inside this primitive mental state, and therefore he is always reacting blindly instead of creating his own desired reality. But you are the ultimate creator of your life. You must train your brain to remain perfectly still. You stay calm while the violent fire rages around you. When a crisis hits, you must take a deep breath. By maintaining a cold calmness, you keep the executive center of your brain fully online, which allows you to build solutions while everyone else is panicking. This is not some weak or mystical philosophy. This is biological dominance over your own physical vessel. The masses wait for a miracle to save their lives. They want to escape the heavy consequences of their poor decisions. The 1% use the specific scientific instrument of a disciplined mind to effectively navigate their way out of the darkest abyss known to mankind. Think of it this way for a brief moment. Your profound calmness is highly offensive to the chaotic world. When tragedy strikes and you do not break, the universe notices. You must maintain a truly unshakable and powerful posture. You boldly act as if you have already won the war, even when your physical bank account is completely empty and your friends have abandoned you. The drifter demands to see the evidence before he believes. The architect of destiny believes with absolute and total certainty. Therefore, he forces the physical evidence to quickly appear. This is the great and unforgiving law of transmutation. You must hold the vision of your ultimate victory in your mind with a calculating certainty until the physical reality bends to your sovereign will. You must absolutely refuse to abandon your vital mental post. Close your eyes for 1 single second right now. Picture the absolute worst-case scenario that keeps you awake. Now mentally detach your identity from that specific terrible outcome. Look at the situation as a simple problem happening to someone else, and notice how quickly the paralyzing fear completely dissolves into thin air. You are never defined by your current physical circumstances. You are the magnetic force moving through the dark circumstances. A wrong decision is always better than no decision. The weak drifter is completely paralyzed by the fear of failure. The bold builder takes massive action despite the danger, because he knows he can always adjust his course while he is moving toward his chief aim. We have established the foundational laws of your mental empire. You understand the rigid necessity of daily cosmic housekeeping. You know the immense power of a cold calmness. You realize the storm is a tool to elevate your frequency. But protecting your energy is only the first step of the protocol. And now you must learn the exact mechanism to multiply it beyond all limits. How did a man with virtually no formal education build the greatest empire of innovation in modern history? Let us look closely at the profound example of Thomas Edison. He did not possess a magical intellect or rely on sheer chance. He simply mastered the ultimate mental architecture. In the winter of 1914, his massive factory complex burned completely to the ground. He lost $2 million and years of priceless work in a single tragic night. The drifter would drop to his knees and complain bitterly to the cruel universe. But Edison did not shed a single tear as he watched his empire burn. He calmly told his son to call his mother because she would never see a fire this magnificent again. He remained perfectly unbothered. This leads us directly to principle number 5, which is the absolute alchemy of failure. You must completely destroy the concept of failure within your mind. The sovereign commander looks at a devastating loss and he sees nothing but objective data. He understands that the universe is simply giving him immediate feedback on his flawed methods. A wrong decision is just a stepping stone. Edison rebuilt his massive empire immediately because he absolutely refused to adopt the toxic identity of a victim. You must apply this exact protocol to your own life today. But you might wonder how a human being can remain so incredibly calm while his life literally burns down. We must look at the hard science of neuroplasticity to understand this profound power. Let us examine another titan of history before we break down the biology. Abraham Lincoln faced a brutal series of political and personal defeats that would absolutely crush an average man. He lost multiple elections, and he endured a severe nervous breakdown. But Lincoln understood that his mind was a sacred fortress. He used his deep sorrow as fuel to fortify his vision. He did not allow his internal frequency to drop to the level of his external circumstances. He maintained his definite chief aim with calculating precision. Lincoln knew that the universe tests the resolve of the builder before it ever hands him the crown. He treated his severe depression not as a permanent disease, but as a heavy weight to strengthen his mental muscles. This introduces principle number 6, which is the absolute dominion over your reticular activating system. Your brain is naturally equipped with a highly advanced biological filter called the RAS. This small bundle of nerves at the base of your brainstem is the ultimate gatekeeper of your physical reality. It filters out millions of bits of useless information every single second. It only allows information that matches your current beliefs to enter your conscious awareness. This filter constantly scans your chaotic environment to find physical evidence that perfectly matches your dominant thoughts. It is a tireless contractor that builds exactly what you instruct it to build every single day. If you constantly tell yourself that the economy is terrible and making money is incredibly difficult, your brain will literally blind you to massive opportunities. The drifter walks right past extreme wealth every single day because his internal filter is permanently set to scarcity. But the creator violently programs his RAS to aggressively seek out abundance and strategic advantage. Stop what you are doing and listen to me right now. You must deliberately give your brain a brand new target tonight. You must write down your definite chief aim with absolute clarity on a piece of paper. When you write your goal down, you are essentially giving your biological filter a strict military command. Your brain will immediately begin to highlight the hidden pathways to your massive success. You will start seeing lucrative resources and powerful connections that were always there but previously completely invisible to you. Your mind becomes a heat-seeking missile locked onto your ultimate destiny. This profound biological reality reveals principle number 7, which is the absolute mastery of the hypnagogic state. This is exactly where modern neuroscience perfectly meets timeless wisdom. In the brief moments right before you fall asleep, your brain slowly shifts from the active beta frequency into the highly receptive theta brainwave state. Your logical conscious mind completely shuts down in this brief and critical window, and the heavy gates of your subconscious swing wide open to receive brand new instructions. The masses use this incredibly critical window to worry endlessly about their mounting debts. They replay all their embarrassing arguments, and they focus intensely on their deep physical exhaustion. They blindly hand their subconscious a miserable blueprint of absolute failure right before sleep, and the brain spends the next 8 hours building a dark reality of poverty for them to wake up in. The builder completely rejects this dangerous habit. He treats his bedroom as a sacred temple of mental architecture. He uses the theta state to strategically install the exact mindset of a powerful titan. He visualizes his ultimate victory while he slowly drifts into a deep sleep. He commands his internal frequency to perfectly align with his definite purpose. He goes to sleep as a mighty king, and he wakes up as an unstoppable force. You cannot outlast a misprogrammed mind through sheer physical willpower alone. You must actively rewrite the core code of your mental operating system. The drifter completely ignores this biological mechanism, and he continues to struggle in vain for decades. The mental gatekeeper equips himself with every single scientific advantage to permanently secure his growing empire. He understands that his thoughts are the only true currency in this vast universe. Your brain is a powerful supercomputer, and it is waiting for your direct command. You must stop feeding it the toxic data of your past failures immediately. You must demand greatness from your own nervous system. This is not some theoretical philosophy, but it is a rigid biological law. If you apply the law of alchemy and manually program your RAS, you will become undeniably dangerous to the status quo. You have now seen the profound evidence of the Titans and the undeniable proof of modern science. The drifter hears this powerful truth and does absolutely nothing. But you are the creator, and you will demand absolute compliance from your own mind. We have diagnosed the hidden enemy, and we have firmly established the biological laws of your success. Now we must translate this heavy knowledge into a daily physical practice. You must prepare yourself for the rigid mental rituals that will force your reality to completely transform. Philosophy without ruthless execution is nothing more than a delusion. You now understand the profound biological mechanisms and the ancient laws of the mind. But knowing the exact truth is absolutely useless if you refuse to aggressively implement it. We must build a physical system. You must translate this heavy knowledge into a daily ritual of undeniable power. This brings us to principle number 8, which is the absolute law of severance. The drifter consumes endless chaotic information until his mind is paralyzed by fear. He wakes up and immediately reaches for his phone to stare at the miseries of a sick society. You must completely destroy this toxic habit. You must sever the invisible cords that bind you to the noisy masses. You are the ultimate architect of destiny, and you require absolute silence to build your massive empire. The first step of your new ritual begins exactly 15 minutes before you fall asleep. You must turn off every single screen in your room. No news and no social media. You will sit in total darkness, and you will observe the frantic noise inside your weary mind. You will not fight the noise, but you will simply watch it fade away into nothing. Once your mind is perfectly still, you will write down your definite chief aim on a physical piece of paper. You will read it aloud with the absolute authority of a sovereign commander. Let the powerful vibration of your own voice completely rewrite the damaged code of your subconscious mind. You do not ask the universe for permission to succeed. You command your reality to align with your new frequency. While you drift into sleep, your brain enters the highly receptive theta state. Your mind will take that final confident instruction, and it will tirelessly build the exact pathways to your ultimate victory. You will wake up as a completely different man. But the true test of your mental architecture happens when the violent storm finally hits. This reveals principle number 9, which is the physical practice of cold calmness. When a crisis strikes, the average man immediately breaks his posture. His shoulders drop, and his breathing becomes incredibly shallow. His physical panic sends a dangerous signal of total defeat to his brain. The drifter acts like a helpless victim begging for mercy from a cruel world, but you must implement the strict protocol of physical dominance. When disaster threatens your empire, you must violently force your body into the posture of a mighty king. Pull your shoulders back and take a deep breath. You must physically act as if you have already won the brutal war. This is not fake confidence, but it is a rigid biological hack to keep your executive brain fully online. Your mind and your body are deeply connected. When you maintain a posture of total supremacy, your brain completely ignores the rising panic. It immediately begins to calculate the exact strategic moves required to destroy the sudden obstacle standing in your path. I command you to practice this cold calmness tomorrow. When someone insults you or a massive deal falls apart, you will not react with explosive anger. You will pause for 3 entire seconds. You will look at the chaotic situation with the cold calculation of a master of fate. You will realize that this minor setback is simply a test of your new mental frequency. The masses are easily controlled by their fragile emotions. They are completely enslaved by their immediate reactions to external circumstances. But the Creator stands completely unaffected in the center of the raging fire. He treats his own emotions as tools that he can deploy or deactivate at his sovereign will. You must become completely immune to the chaos. This strict discipline is incredibly demanding, and most men will simply quit. They will eagerly return to the comfortable misery of their old lives because it is easier to complain than it is to build. But you did not come here to be average. You came here to claim your absolute dominion over the physical world. Your cold calmness is your ultimate weapon of mass creation. You must enforce the law of severance every single night and practice cold calmness every single day. Do not just agree with these words. You must physically execute them until they become your second nature. The universe only respects the man who backs his bold claims with relentless and disciplined action. Your old self is terrified of this new strict routine. Let the weak version of yourself die quietly in the shadows. He has served his purpose, and he is no longer required for the massive journey ahead. You are systematically building a mental fortress that no earthly crisis can ever penetrate. We have completely laid down the practice and the rituals. Now you must prepare yourself for the ultimate and final decision. You must understand that consistency is the absolute foundation of your empire. The drifter tries a ritual for 3 days, and then he gives up when he does not see immediate physical wealth. He is a child playing a temporary game. But the architect of destiny repeats the exact same boring ritual for 10 years if necessary. He trusts the invisible law of accumulation. Every single night that you sit in silence, you are laying another heavy brick in your mental fortress. Every single time you maintain a cold calmness under immense pressure, you are reinforcing the thick walls of your new reality. The results are not always immediate, but they are absolutely inevitable. The law of the universe guarantees your ultimate success. Stop looking for a quick escape from your current struggles. The struggles are the exact training ground where you forge your unshakable discipline. Embrace the heavy repetition of your daily practice. Treat your 15 minutes of absolute silence as the most important meeting of your entire life. You are literally meeting with the architect of your own destiny. This is the defining moment of your existence. You possess the blueprint and you wield the heavy hammer. The drifter will listen to this entire lesson and he will go right back to his miserable sleep. But the sovereign commander will start his new life tonight. You are now standing at the very edge of your old world. The time for quiet preparation is rapidly ending. We have finally reached the ultimate boundary of your mental architecture. Principle 10 is the absolute law of the sovereign vow. The drifter constantly makes weak wishes. He hopes his life will eventually improve when the economy changes or when luck finally finds him. But hope is a very dangerous poison. The Creator does not ever hope for a better future because he violently commands it into existence. You must make a final and non-negotiable decision tonight. You are exactly one single mental shift away from an entirely new existence. But that profound shift will never happen unless you actively force it to happen. Look closely at your life right now. Look at the immense exhaustion and the endless quiet compromises you make every single day. Will you tolerate this mediocrity forever? The pain of discipline is heavy, but the pain of regret will completely destroy your soul. You must choose your pain right now. The drifter avoids the pain of discipline, and he spends his entire life suffering from the brutal consequences of his own weakness. But the master of fate gladly embraces the heavy discipline because he knows it is the only true path to absolute freedom. You must say to yourself that this dark chapter is permanently over. No more small thinking. No more playing the pathetic victim to your external circumstances. No more letting invisible fear write the exact script of your future. You must mentally bury the weak version of yourself today. He is deed, and the sovereign commander now takes the absolute throne. This requires a level of commitment that terrifies the average man. The masses want the massive reward, but they absolutely refuse to sign the brutal contract. They want the shining empire, but they run away from the heavy lifting in the dark. You must be entirely different. You must become a ruthless force of nature that never stops moving toward its definite chief aim. Let us completely strip away the last remaining illusions in your mind. There is no magical savior coming to rescue you. Nobody is going to hand you a magnificent empire on a silver platter. You are completely alone in this mental battlefield, and that profound isolation is your greatest hidden advantage. It means you have absolute control over the final outcome. You are writing a legacy that will outlast your physical body. When you finally master your internal frequency, you break the generational curses that have plagued your bloodline for centuries. The poverty stops with you. The endless anxiety stops with you. You become the absolute origin point of a brand new era of abundance. This is the true weight of your crown. Do not shrink away from this massive responsibility. The drifter is terrified of his own potential power because power requires strict accountability. But you will embrace the heavy burden with a cold calmness. You will walk into the raging storm and you will dictate the terms of your own survival. You are no longer the victim of the narrative. You are the author. You did not click this video by a random coincidence today. You came here as a man completely exhausted by the endless drift. You were tired of the heavy burdens that sleep could never fix. But today you have finally remembered exactly who you really are. You are the absolute gatekeeper of your own mind. From this specific night forward, you act independently of any external motivation. Motivation is a cheap emotion that disappears when the storm arrives. But discipline is a rigid structure that stands tall in the darkest night. You are a ruthless builder in the invisible season. Stand up right now. Claim your rightful throne. You are the grand architect of your reality. And the chaotic world has absolutely no choice but to bend to your disciplined mind. The time for endless drifting is officially over. You have heard the unforgiving law of the universe. Every excuse you have ever made was nothing but a fragile shadow. Tonight, as you close your eyes, you must make a terrifying choice. Will you return to the noisy chaos of the drifting masses, or will you step into the quiet and unstoppable power of the elite 1%? Hesitation is the ultimate death of your destiny. You must decide right now. The universe is watching your next move. If you are truly ready to command your reality, you must seal your decision right now. Write your definite purpose in the comments below. Do not just type empty words on a glowing screen. Let those specific words be the unbreakable contract you sign with the universe. Leave your vow in the comments to physically anchor your brand new identity. Let it be known. This heavy knowledge will not serve you if you hear it only once. It will quickly fade into the endless and chaotic noise of tomorrow. Your subconscious mind requires brutal repetition to build a brand new world. Therefore, I strictly command you to listen to this exact lesson again and again. Play it while you work. Play it while you sleep. Make these profound principles the only voice you tolerate inside your head. You must completely wash away the toxic programming of your past. Treat this physical video as your daily mental armor. When the weak drifter tries to return to your mind, you must use these ancient laws to strike him down immediately. You are building an invincible fortress. Subscribe to this channel if this ancient tradition belongs to you. Join the exclusive ranks of the powerful men who absolutely refuse to drift through life. Share this specific lesson with the one person who is building an empire alongside you. Your past is completely erased. Your brand new life begins in this exact passing second. Command your frequency.